This is the Philly Fan Podcast with your host, Kevin Flannery.
Welcome back to another edition of the Philly Fan Podcast. I'm Kevin Flannery, a solo host today because I don't have anybody and it's 10:30. It's kind of in the middle of a class period time, so it's not like I'm going to bring someone in from another class to record with me. And we are 7 days away. Now, by the time you're listening, probably a little bit shorter than 7 days away from opening day. So let's say this. Let's go. Yeah, we're 5 days away because that's probably when you're going to listen to this. Or 5 to 3 days away. Who knows? We're somewhere close, but we're under 7 days. Let's just say it that way. We are underneath 7 days to go until spring training is over, until opening day comes. And with opening day arriving, it's about the time of the year, every year, that I make my predictions for the regular season. Now, just because I make these predictions, they normally go pretty badly. Last year, I had the Padres and the Blue Jays in the World Series. Now, the Padres wasn't that far off. They almost made the World Series if it wasn't for the Phillies, which happily, they did not make the World Series. But, they were close. That was pretty close. And a couple of years before that, I think I had the Red Sox, and that was close. So I normally get it pretty close because I do my research, I figure it out, and I kind of try to go over it over the next couple weeks and just kind of see, where I am. So I don't have the physical papers in front of me, which I normally do. I had to take photos of them yesterday night and put them, because I put them on my wall so I can see them all, the whole, can't think of the word, the entire season. Yeah, the entire season. And then when I'm doing it, you notice I'm not the best with the records. The records are kind of difficult. So I did also, which I'll go over both. So if you're not in the mood for the whole thing, both records, both of them, I would say there's going to be two different parts. This is my intro. Second part of the podcast is going to be the paper ones that I did yesterday, and those are the ones I'm going over, and then the playoff predictor ones that I've done over the last hour and a half here in school using a website called playoffpredictors.com. Go check it out. It's a really nice website. But that actually puts in, I had to pick every single game. So if I picked the game of the Phillies versus the Texas Rangers on opening day, and I put it in as the Phillies winning, well, the Phillies would get that win, and the Rangers would get tallied for the loss. And instead of me going through every single schedule, which I did one year, and putting win and L, because if I put a win here, it's going to be a loss over there. And if I do that for every single one, which takes a very long time, this website makes it a lot easier. So really nice that I found this, playoffpredictors.com, really good website. So anyway, we'll start off with my actual predictions that I did on paper last night. This is what I think the divisions are going to be. The 1 through 5 of each division, this is what I expect the divisions to be. Braves, Phillies, Mets, Marlins, Nationals. Now the records are going to be a little bit off because probably the Phillies, Braves, and Mets are all not going to finish with 90 wins. It's possible, but it's unlikely. I have the Braves at 97 and 65, the Phillies at 95 and 67, and the Mets at 90 and 72. Again, unlikely that all three teams finish above 90 or at 90 like the Mets, but not impossible. Marlins, they jumped down to 73. I went over the Marlins season. I found that was looking through papers yesterday. Then I did go through the Marlins season on this podcast, and I do think they're going to be good, but I don't think they have a shot to even come close to the playoffs or the division because it's going to be taken over by the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets. And, we can always hope that we're going to win the division, but I don't see that exactly happening. But in my other one, we'll see what happens. For the Central Division in the National League, the St. Louis Cardinals are first, the Cubs are second, Brewers are third, Pirates 4, and Reds 5. That seems kind of realistic. I can't say it's wrong because, it's not officially wrong, but even if you look at the National League standings for last year, it was very interesting because the everyone thought the Reds were going to be, the Pirates were going to be the worst. And the Pirates were the worst. But the Pirates are in this weird stage, which I don't exactly understand. The Pirates are in a stage where you're a bad baseball team. And ever since you've been good, I don't know exactly how long ago, I'm not a Pirates freak, but I've known for a good amount that the Pirates last year were 62 and 100, lost 100 games. Just listen to this. In the 2021 season, again, this is a 162 game season, the Pirates lost 101 games, so we're getting better by a singular game. In 2020, not really good to look at because it's not 162 games, but the Pirates came in last and lost 41 games, which was a lot. This is 3 straight years of being last. We're looking for a year that they came really high. 2019, the Pirates are also in last, but they were, not as bad as they've been the last couple of years. 2018, these are getting back to the older teams when the Rockies were making the playoffs. The Pirates finally are better than the Reds. They're actually a competent team. So I would guess in 2017 was, the last time the Pirates were a competent baseball team. Nope, never mind. They went back down there. I'm going to find a season. 2016? Yes, okay, they're competitive in 2016. The Cubs won 103 games in 2016, but they were competitive, and the Brewers weren't. So I don't know the last time the Pirates made the playoffs, and as I keep talking, I'm going to keep... There it is! Pirates made the playoffs in 2015 at record of 98 and 64, and since then they haven't had a winning season. So that just shows we've gone through, if you're a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, you've gone through the times of, yay, we're going to rebuild, or we're going to not, or we're just going to get worse. Why are we still getting worse? We're getting worse by the year. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Hey, we won one less game. We lost one less game. It's a life of a Pirates fan. And then you have the ownership who brings in a singular player they trade away Vogelbach, but then they bring in a guy of, example, they bring in Andrew McCutchen. Andrew McCutchen was good in 2015. Why are you spending money on Andrew McCutchen and random pitchers just to be good for 1 year when you've lost 100 games last year? I get it that your division, probably the winner, won't win 90 games, but I have them at 71 wins. It just seems like where they're going to end up. So that's for the Central. Nothing really else to spark. The Cardinals winning the division, the Cubs missing out in the playoffs. Cubs made a lot of changes this offseason, so I definitely would have the Cubs winning the division. I don't think that's unrealistic. As we scroll back down to the West, where I have a little bit of something that some people would not fully agree with in the West. The Dodgers last year won 111 games. The second place team in the NL West was the San Diego Padres. And the San Diego Padres, they won 89 games. A huge difference between two teams. Now, I think the Padres got better and the Dodgers got worse in the offseason. Now, you can't out-count the Dodgers because they're the Dodgers and they're a good team and they're going to win. The more and more and more and more that we show that, they're going to win games. It's not like, oh, the Dodgers, they lost Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Gavin Lux is out for the year. Who else did they lose? Albert Pujols, he wasn't really that big of a contributor. He wasn't even on that team. What am I saying? Not Albert Pujols. They lost, they've gained Noah Syndergaard. Kershaw's probably on his last legs. Dodgers are not as stacked as they were last year, and I understand that. And they lost Cody Bellinger. But they're not going to win upwards of 95 games. And I have them at 96 and losing the division. Because if San Diego is anything like the hype train that they are, they've got a lineup of Fernando Tatis Jr. at shortstop or center field, wherever you're going to, probably center field. Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, former shortstop for the Boston Red Sox, Manny Machado at third base, and Juan Soto in the outfield. Look at those 4 guys. Then you bring it down to the level of Jake Cronenworth, star player. Austin Nola, catcher, star player. Who else is good on that team? Han-Sung Kim, star player. Trent Grisham, I think he's still on the Padres, star player. Matt Carpenter's on the Padres now, star player. They got star-studded talent, and the only issue for them is probably going to be their pitching with Joe Musgrove. I wonder if Musgrove's going to start the year. I did not know if Musgrove is going to start the year. He's the guy who had that thing. Yeah. Yu Darvish, forgot about him. Just add it to the list. Yu Darvish, Charlie Morton. Is Charlie Morton on the... No, that's Blake Snell. Blake Snell's on the Padres, but it's a good team. It's definitely a good team, and it's definitely a team that I think will win the division, if not make it very far in the playoffs like I have them making. Well, now I'm going to flip it to the American League. And in the American League, the Yankees would be 1, the Blue Jays 2, the Orioles 3, the Red Sox 4, and the Tampa Bay Rays 5. I expect a Tampa Bay Rays collapse season. And they won 86 games last year. They barely stayed afloat in the division because that division is so tightly competitive. The Yankees won 99 games last year. The Blue Jays won 92. Rays had 86. Orioles 83 and Red Sox 78. The Orioles improved. The Red Sox 50-50 improved. The Yankees improved by bringing Judge back, but they didn't really add much else. And the Blue Jays made some trades and signed some free agents, so they've improved. So I still think the Yankees are the tops out there in the AL East. Then the Blue Jays make sense to be second. Baltimore is a sleeper team for the playoffs. I don't have them making it at 86 wins. I don't think that'll be enough, but they'll really show that they're someone to be reckoned with up there in Baltimore. But the Boston Red Sox, now that this changes, I just got a thing okay, whatever. We'll get to that in a minute. Baltimore Orioles, going back to the American League East here, Baltimore Orioles, I want them to be good, but I don't think they're going to be great. And the Boston Red Sox, again, a team I like to root for. But just because you add Makataka Yoshida from the Japan League and you keep Bogarts around, not Bogarts, you let Bogarts walk, you keep Devers around, and you really don't have much else coming up in the farm system except, I think it's Duran is his name, a couple other guys. You have those guys coming up through the farm system, so I wouldn't say much else there. For the American League Central, as that shuts down the AL East. For the AL Central, I know people around here who would listen to my podcast probably know about the National League East, the National League West, the American League East, and the American League West. No one really cares or knows about the Central teams because the Central teams are really not that good, and they're just a bunch of teams clearly that have been thrown in the pot that are going to do well enough to get one team to come out of there, but probably not succeed because it's not a big market out there. Bigger markets on the coastlines. Like the Central, if I say these 5 team names, and you probably, I would guess the amount of people that listen to this, maybe half of them, half of you probably have watched a game. Has any of you watched a Guardians, White Sox, Twins, Tigers, Royals game? Probably not many. Guardians are in Cleveland. The White Sox are in Chicago. The Twins are in Minnesota. The Tigers are in Detroit. And the Royals are in Kansas City. The Royals and Tigers are bad. The Twins are really not that much better. And the White Sox were 500 last year. Just shows one division where the Guardians win it. But the winner of that division, I think, I don't think they will, I think the Guardians will have 91 wins. I have it 91, 72. I have the Twins, the White Sox, Royals, Tigers. I have the division pretty much the exact same, just some flips around, but still bad. Still a very bad division, and I have the Royals at 70 wins because I think the Royals are definitely a better team than the Tigers. Then you have the American League West with the Houston Astros, as we all know, beat us in the World Series. I have them at 99 wins. They won 106 last year. I have the Mariners at 90 wins. They'll be in second place, same exact record as last year. I have the Rangers at 87 wins with the additions of Jacob deGrom, Marcus Semien in his second year, Corey Seager in his second year, Martin Perez. You've got more pitchers down there. That's a sleeper playoff team, and I have them in the playoffs. So they are a sleeper playoff team. I have them in the playoffs. I do think they'll make it. Angels at 81 and 81. I don't see anything better or worse from them. They're just have the two best players in baseball, but they can't seem to win with them. So that's a whole other thing for another day. So then, of course, we have the Oakland Athletics at 62 and 100. So I have one team with 100 wins, one team with 100 losses. So then it comes down to what I have for the playoffs. And the playoff picture is simple. Padres 1, Braves 2. The St. Louis Cardinals 3, the Dodgers at 4 seed, the Phillies at the 5 seed, and the Mets at the 6 seed. For the American League, the New York Yankees at the 1, the Houston Astros at the 2, the Guardians at the 3. Toronto Blue Jays have the 4 seed, the Mariners have the 5 seed, and the 6th wild card spot is the Texas Rangers. Then you would put it in as a playoff bracket. My playoff bracket is as follows. Rangers would play the Guardians. Again, probably two teams nobody cares and nobody knows about in our area. Rangers, I see a winning of that wild card series. So it would be Rangers-Astros in the second round. Mariners, Blue Jays. I see Blue Jays coming out on top, playing the Yankees, divisional opponent. I would have Blue Jays. Almost said Yankees there. I would have the Blue Jays coming out on top. Then the Rangers, Astros, to play in the ALCS would be the Astros, Blue Jays, and the Astros would take their little people, the cheaters, and they would walk out sad from a Game 7 walk-off from the Toronto Blue Jays. Or, I don't know. I guess the Astros would be a home team, but you know what I mean. The Blue Jays would win. Then you go to the National League. Mets would play the Cardinals. The Mets would win that. Phillies would play the Dodgers. I have the Phillies winning that. You got playoff Turner, playoff Harper, playoff Schwarber, playoff Hoskins. Keep on going. Phillies would play the Padres. I've seen this script before, and I've seen how this has ended. Phillies would move on. Mets, Braves. Braves are way better than the Mets without Edwin Diaz. So it'd be Braves, Mets, Phillies over the Braves, then Phillies, Blue Jays. Why did I just get a notification that the Braves are the NL East favorite? That doesn't help right now. The Blue Jays, the Phillies, the loser, Blue Jays, and the Phillies are the winner. That's some biased, but I was going to take the Blue Jays, but I can't do that to myself. So if the Blue Jays are in the World Series and they beat the Phillies, or the Phillies are in the World Series and they beat the Blue Jays, I told you it was going to happen first here on March 23rd. So one more thing before I get out of here and make you not sit here for 30 minutes and listen to me talk, because probably don't have all that time in your day and you're probably doing something else while you're listening, but that's what a podcast is for. For the Phillies, just something I wanted to kind of take a look at is anybody not knowing anything about opening day. Opening day is on the road. Do not go to Citizens Bank Park thinking the game's at home. It's not. It's on the road. Don't go. You can fly to Texas. Go fly to Texas. But please don't go down to the park thinking that you're there going to the game. So, instead, the Phillies will play the Rangers on the road. 3 on the road. I figured this out yesterday night. The Thursday game is at 4:05 on NBC 10 if you're in the Philadelphia area. The Friday, we have a day off. Saturday is also 4:05 if you're looking for the game on TV. It is on Fox. Then the Sunday game is a Sunday night baseball game on ESPN. So don't go looking on NBC Sports Philadelphia and say, where is it? Where's the game? I'm telling you right here, right now, that the games are on NBC 10, Fox, and ESPN. After that, the Phillies will go play the Yankees, and it'll be 3 games in a row, and then they'll play the Reds on that Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Yankees, and then Reds for opening day at home, and that one you can attend. I will probably talk to you in the next coming weeks after this opening day, and I'll have a Phillies opinion. We'll see where they are. We'll see where the Braves are. We'll wrap everything together. I'll probably bring Caleb back on. It's been a good time. These are the MLB 2023 playoff predictions by Kevin Flannery. on the Philly Fan Podcast. I'll see you in about 2 to 3 weeks after spring break. I'm Kevin Flannery, signing off.